Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we have something on our channel. I put a short out probably about a week ago talking about this, but I'm going to do a more in-depth video. So let's go ahead and get into it. So here we have the Glock 17L, or long slide, whatever you'd like to call it. First things first, go ahead and make sure it's clear. Right, nothing in the mag well, chamber is clear. All right, so yeah, the Glock 17L is the long slide version of the 17, hence the name. This particular one is a Generation 3. They do now have the Gen 5s. I haven't been able to get a hold of one of the Gen 5s yet, but you know, so far with the Gen 3, I've been really pleased with it. So let's go ahead and go over a few of its features, okay? First thing, just off the top of my head, what I can see, the slide release here is extended. It does poke out a little bit more than normal Glock. Magazine release also does poke out a little bit more from what I've seen on other Glocks. You have a slide cut out. According to Glock's website, this is to, one, reduce weight, and B, also to make cycling quicker, since this is primarily used for competition. It does have, you know, your typical Glock white sights. This one does, though, have an adjustable rear sight, which is not on every Glock. So, overall, I mean, feels really nice. It's not as heavy as you'd think it is. Looking at Glock's website here, let's see. The weight of this one is 26.63 ounces. Okay, you may also think that this looks very similar to the Glock 34, which it does. However, the 17L in particular predates the 34 by about 10 years. The 17L was introduced back in 1988, whereas the Glock 34, which is the other longer 9mm Glock makes, was introduced in, was it 1998? Also primarily for competition shooting. Right. So the barrel length of this one, as you can see, this does have quite a long slide. Means the barrel's going to be naturally longer. Is 6.02 inches. The Glock 34 has a barrel length of 5.31 inches. Now, what does that necessarily do? Typically, longer barrel, you're going to have a longer sight radius. Also, ballistically, it's going to increase the muzzle velocity depending on what projectile you are shooting. Now, how much is that difference going to be? It just depends on the ammunition manufacturer. But you will expect to see some type of velocity gains. All right, so I was able to shoot this gun a little bit over the last weekend. I will say it's extremely easy to shoot. You have that long sight radius, makes matching up your sights quite easy. Everything's just very smooth on it, especially for a 9mm. It's the most smoothest shooting 9mm I've personally ever shot. Now, with the Gen 3, one thing I'm not absolutely crazy about, is probably my biggest complaint, but it is Glock after all, so, I mean, kind of got to give it a little grace, is the trigger. Here, it's going. There's not necessarily a distinctive wall that you will find. It just kind of feels like kind of mushy all the way back. I'm sure that can be easily adjusted with a spring kit or a different drop-in trigger, but it is one of my observations. Shooting at 15 to 20 yards with this is honestly a breeze compared to shooting the 17 that I have as well. It's night and day difference. It's a 17, let's see here. According to Glock's website, it's a 4.49 inch barrel. So you're looking at a little over an inch and a half longer. And the weight's just going to be a little bit heavier on this. It's not nothing drastic, however. Comparing this to some of the other Glocks I own, like the Glock 20, the Glock 17. The 20, as y'all know, is the 10mm variant of the Glock. I will say the Glock 20 is significantly heavier than this, although the frame sizes are different, as well as the slide is a lot beefier on the 20 opposed to the 17 or 17L. If you want to talk about some negatives, like I said, like I mentioned, one of the negatives has to be the mushy trigger. The other thing I'm not too crazy about is holster selection. So if you're trying to carry something like this on duty, if you're a police officer or whatever you might be, the Safariland, which typically most departments use, they don't necessarily have a dedicated holster for the 17 with the level 3 retention. Now, I could be wrong and was completely overlooking it, but I looked on their website and I could find stuff for the 34, but nothing directly for the 17L with level 3 retention. Now, there's a possibility that you might be able to fit this in a 34 holster. However, I'd be kind of skeptical on spending $250 on a quality holster and it not fit. I hate sending things back, to be personally honest with you. I mean, these are just some of the few points I just wanted to go over. I mean, overall, it's very sweet. I'd like to get a hold of the Gen 5 and see the differences with this compared to the Gen 3. But I mean, overall, this shoots fantastic. If you can get past the mushy trigger and the holsters availability on the market, it's a very sweet gun to have. I would not mind carrying this on a daily basis. Although I would be a little skeptical if you are in a police setting trying to draw this from the car sitting down. I could see how that extra barrel length here would maybe hinder that draw. That would be another thing, to test, but that's just hypothetically speaking. But overall, I'm really impressed with it so far. I appreciate my buddy for letting me borrow this. As always, if y'all have any other suggestions or anything for the channel, feel free to comment. As always, like, subscribe, and have a good rest of the day.